All right. All right. Welcome to Born Again African and Real Repatriation Consultation YouTube channel. My name is Yao Yazid Mohammed, and I'm the CEO of Real Repatriation Consultations. And I want to welcome everybody to our channel today. Today, we're going to be interviewing our sister, uh, Verdel Senahia-Capps. She's a sister from Chicago, and she moved to Ghana some few years ago and established some businesses here, and is also making a life for herself here. And I'm starting a series where I want to interview people that are having these experiences and coming and moving to Ghana. And they have moved into my area of the Akosombo area. And if you haven't picked up our book, Discover the Akosombo area, you can find us on Amazon.com or Google us on Google. And you can find our book about discovering the Akosombo area. We already discussed about the opportunities in the area and the different things that are going on in it. So again, Sister Verdel has moved to Palm, which is in the Akosombo area, and I invited her to be a part of our to be a part of a conversation that talks about her journey to her journey of repatriation to Ghana from Chicago. And she's a sister that is married a Ghanaian brother. She has created a business, and she has created a business that is giving other people opportunities to have sustainable repatriation. So, without further delay, let me introduce Sister Verdel.
Hello. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. How are you doing, Sister Verdel?
I'm doing all right. How are you?
I'm doing just great. How is your husband? How is your family doing?
Everyone is good. Um, yeah, we're all good on this side. I hope you
All
guys
right.
are good on your end.
All right. Yeah, we're all well, doing well. Jeanette is managing upstairs, and the children are playing in the garden there. Everybody's doing well. And I myself am just completing my work for today, and looking forward to having. I've been looking forward to having this conversation with you or live on air for some weeks now. So finally, the spirit has aligned us so that we can get this done. And would you like to begin with a short introduction of yourself?
Yes. So I'll try to keep it short. I'm Verdel Senahia. I am from Chicago. living in the eastern Volta region, depending on who you ask, of Ghana. So I don't know which one to say. And I'm an online English trainer, as well as an online English coach. Um, I've been in the TEFL industry for a little bit over a decade now. Um, and I do this full time online. It's my livelihood. Uh, it's how I support myself and contribute to my family. Um, and yeah, I'm Ghanaian through marriage. But aside from that, I'm an American descendant of slaves. Happy African Unity Day, by the way. Um, and that's about it. I've traveled. Oh, I've had a chance to travel the world teaching English before I got into teacher training, prior to moving to Ghana and starting my online English coaching business. Yeah.
All right. Well, I have some questions to ask you. Maybe you can embellish us with it, sharing a little bit about your story. Can you share with us your journey from Chicago to Ghana? What motivated you to make such a significant move?
Yes, of course. So my spouse was my biggest motivation for this significant move. Um, I don't think it's sustainable to have a partner in a different country than you. And so I believe in uniting the family. I also believe in understanding where you come from, where your family comes from, and so that was part of the motivation to move to Ghana. I didn't come directly from Chicago. I had already been abroad, and from the country I was working and teaching in, then I moved to Ghana from there. Yes, but my husband was my main motivation to move specifically to Ghana.
Okay. Well, thank you for mentioning your husband, Mr. David. Am I
Yes.
saying it correct? Senahia.
Yes, Sanahia.
Senahia. All right. And if I'm not correct, he's from Anglo, in the Volta region.
Yes, that's one of the hometowns of his father, Anloga. Yes, Koji,
Okay.
Anloga, and then
Anglo.
Abuzumbe.
All right. Anglo God. Thank you. And, you know, African diaspora relationships are trending these days. And can you tell us a little bit about how you met your husband?
Yes, so I'll keep it relatively short. So in 2007, as a high school student on MySpace, um, I responded to a comment that this guy responded on my picture, and it was now my husband David. So we met on MySpace back in the day when MySpace existed, and we became pen pals. So I was going off to university. He was, secondary school, going to be going into training. And over the years, we kept in touch with video calls, with emailing, but having never met in person. So just being like online friends and acquaintances, and then sometimes calling me on the phone. I remember one time he sent me this like DVD of like our pictures, like professing his love. And I was like, this African, I ain't gonna, what I look like. And so for many years, us just living our life, but still like keeping in touch here and there. 10 years later, we were just happened to like, oh yeah, let me follow up and see how this person is doing. And I was in London doing my master's degree in TESOL. And I was, we were like, all this time we've been like chatting online and just being like friends online. What if we meet? Like we're adults now, like it's been 10 years since we've had this like online like friendship when we were teenagers and kids to now being adults and being, I was still a grad student. He was just starting his career. Let's meet. And so I arranged to do my thesis in Accra. I was doing research on the use of authentic materials for UK teachers versus West African teachers. And so I arranged to like interview teachers who were in Accra so that I can set up to meet with him. And we met for the first time in 10 years of just like online and video communication. And we became friends. It was like, okay, there's something that's there. Are you single? We had the questions to assess each other, and we were like, let's give this a try. So that was back in like 2016, 2017, when we physically met in person, and we started this LDR, long distance relationship. And I made a couple trips into Ghana. He was supposed to come into London. Those things didn't work out quite well. So after a few trips to Ghana, the pandemic happened, and so then I made the decision, okay, I'm going to move to Ghana. So I moved to Ghana in 2020. And then 2021, we got married. And we're still creating our story, still growing in love, still learning each other. So this is 3 years of marriage and 3.5 years of me living in Ghana. Yeah. And that's how we got together. That's our love story.
That's a beautiful story. I mean, long distance. I've been in long distance relationships, and they're not without their challenges. And there's a lot of, let's say, trust issues when you have a long distance relationship from state to state, let alone nation to nation, country to country,
yes.
Right? And we will speak to. I want to get to the point about you living in Asian countries, but as you established your relationship with this brother, how did you overcome some of the cultural challenges?
Well, a lot of that overcoming, I think, happened in a lot of the communication of being from, I was 17 at the time. 17, because we were still conversing and still just online. I wouldn't have called him like my online boyfriend, but our conversations were very flirty and fun. And a lot of times I'd be like checking him like, oh, what do you mean by this? Because of the English and like how he would say certain things. And I have trust issues. And so I think a lot of that was overcome in that. And then also on my visits here, of like seeing where he lived, seeing where he worked, how is he providing for himself, what can he do for himself without my resources, and if I'm with him, what can he take care of? What type of like person is he? Who is he hanging around? What is his experiences? And so I think the 10-year friendship of chatting and video calls got some of those things ruffled out, and also the long visits, and also living together, and also like assessing his character, and also experiences. Thankfully, like both of us don't have so many relationship experiences like that. Like we were both like fresh, if you know what I mean. Like, so that was important to me. Like if you have a baby mama or you have I probably would not know. Like I need somebody who is like in the similar like phase of life as me. So that was always like my prayer, to have someone who, like, I don't want to be with a man who has so much experiences and you're comparing me to others, because I don't have any experience. So I'd rather be two inexperienced people growing together and figuring things out. Of course, no one is perfect. We all have our personality glitches and stuff. And so it's I think an ongoing thing of like growing to know your partner and growing in trust, because I think it hurts them when you question them. But they're earlier in our relationship, of course I did that. I questioned my own mama, like I just questioned because of my personality and how I am, and like him having to work through that and me having to work through like how his personality is, and us adjusting where necessary, because there's the cultural aspect. I'm from Chicago. I grew up in the hood. I was a scholarship kid, but like I still have my sense of like defense, like mechanisms like that I had to like work through and continue to have to work through. But it's the building of the friendship, to be quite honest, that's helped with like overcoming trust issues when it comes to culture, when it comes to mindsets, and just the experiences together. Being able to travel together has helped. How are we together in foreign countries? How are we navigating through different life situations when we have health issues or we have different struggles, like how, or money issues, or, so I think just seasons and time is the best way. If you've never been through anything with your partner, like you don't, it's time is the biggest truth teller in the different situations. And that helps with overcoming issues like with trust. So you have to do life together. That's why I was saying I don't think LDR is sustainable for long periods of time, because you really need to see them, like see them in their rawest
Yeah.
forms.
Well, yeah, thank you for sharing that. And, that's a great segue into one of the services that we offer at Real Repatriation Consultation, and that is the background checks. A lot of people get involved in these relationships, African diaspora relationships, as well as long distance relationships. And, it's very hard to fact check or, you know, uh, uh, cross check things that people tell you. So, we've created a service where, like a private investigative type of service where, we can go in and verify some of the things that people said. One thing interesting that you unique about this is that you didn't just move on a whim, like I see a lot of people doing these days, where, they come in and they, voila, I'm here now, and, didn't really find out if your potential mate uh, has a job, has the job that they say they have. Maybe they come from the family, or maybe the relationship they have with their family and the extended family. These are all very important aspects of entering into a marriage, uh, especially those of us coming from the United States who are not used to a traditional type of relationship in terms of, you know modern versus in I don't know how to put it, in the past, but Africa
Yes.
and Africans have a customary way of doing their thing in terms of traditional marriages, and it's a great aspect of relationship. I want to segue into how, you living in these other countries, how it prepared you for moving or making your decision to settle.
I think the biggest thing is um, being okay with not knowing, learning to become okay with like not, yeah, not having, like not knowing everything. Like sometimes people are afraid because they just don't know what it's going to be like. And my first like test of living in a different country was moving to London. I was like, let me just see what life outside of America is like for longer than 3 months, because I had lived in Kenya for 3 months as an intern, and that's just 3 months. 3 months is like nothing. But my time in London was like almost 2 years time, and I wanted to use that to just see like, okay, outside of American culture, Black American culture, um, can I survive? Can I make it? Am I good enough? Am I all these just different things I wanted to figure out? And once I saw that, like, like this is different. How they do things is different. The UK is kind of old. Europe is old. With their electricity and how the food stuff and all these different things. And then when deciding to move to Vietnam, it was just like another step. Like, okay, I did London. Let me just see about this place. And that place, was a little bit more different because I stood out. Some places I blended in because there's some brown Vietnamese people, but for the most part, I stood out a lot and had a huge language barrier. And it really just taught me to not care so much, not to be afraid, not to allow fear to stop me, and to be comfortable with not knowing. And living in Poland did the same thing. The same thing, being okay with being different, being okay and also learning to be open, but also knowing my boundaries. I'm an open person, but I know what I'm going to do and I know what I'm not going to do, and ain't nobody going to change my mind. Right. So like maintaining that balance of like I am open, but I'm not open to everything, and everything cannot have access to me. And being comfortable to be able to stand on that, like to stand on that while being respectful of those around me. Um, and so those different countries taught me that, because I don't think I'm not the type of person, like I'm not the person who's moved to Ghana and who's just like forsaken all of my Black American culture and just wiped it away because I think it's useless. I'm not the type. I think there is significance in what my ancestors went through, having to learn English, having to fight for rights, and still having to fight for rights. And so, like, I don't discount that, or I don't see that as a lot being lost or lost identity. My identity is from that, and it has and is creating who I am to be. And so, like, learning to embrace everything that has made me, even when in a new culture, and even when like trying to get acclimated to it, but realizing that I will never 100% be Ghanaian. Like, I will never have like the mindset of that. I can try to empathize, I can try to, research and understand, but I will never fully understand, because I hold a privilege that a Ghanaian who's born here and has never left here, that they don't hold. And so I have to understand that, understand who I am, what I carry, what I don't carry, who I'm not. And so living in places that I stood out helped me to be able to be okay with that here, because I blend here and you won't even know I'm American or Black American, so I speak. So so those things have helped me a bit. Just be comfortable with being different, be comfortable with not knowing, and to be courageous.
All right. Thank you for that too. Yeah, um, uh, teaching. As you, I think teaching has been a vehicle that has helped you to move around. Um, you know, Maybe you can tell us a little bit about transitioning your role as a teacher, what inspired you to pursue teaching English, and particularly from West Africa or in Africa in general.
Okay. So when I left the US in 2015, 2016, um, the biggest thing was like, okay, I need to figure out what can I do that can make me money. And that like I can like, what can I do? What can I do? I need to be a student. I'll get some student loans. I don't care. So I found funding. I went to school in London to study teaching English as a second language. I received my master's in that. I went to Cambridge to do a certificate to teach English to adults. And then from there, that was my doorway. I could have stayed in England and did like some teaching in England, but the pay compared to the cost of living wasn't worth it. So I decided to go to Vietnam. And so the opportunity to travel and make money and save money and just like live and see other parts of the world, have some luxury experiences, was my motivation to teach English. And then eventually I felt like this is something that I can do anywhere in the world. And even if I decided to return to the West, that I could still like do this because I hold a master's degree in this. And so that was like my main motivation. I feel like it's sustainable. Like this is the only job I haven't quit. I used to have so many different jobs that I would quit, but this is the only one that's like sticking. Like, and it's annoying sometimes, but I really enjoy it because I like working with people. I like helping people to reach their goals. I like working with foreigners. I have a heart for foreign people. And so that was like my motivation. And then, of course, when I left Poland, when the pandemic happened, as soon as the borders opened for Ghana, I came. I needed to have a way to support myself, not just depend on my husband's income. I don't want to be moving here broke. And at the time, he wasn't my husband. He wasn't my husband. So I'm like, I'm moving here. My fiance, something happened. And he like, or something go wrong. I'm not trying to be out here in these streets like this. So I need to have some money. And so that was also just the motivation. Like, I need to have sustainable income. I need to be making USD, euros, British pounds. I need to be making something. So he made sure that before I came, that his apartment had internet, and he was just like making sure things were set up. Like, we were working together to make sure, okay, I need to have internet where in your apartment where we'll be staying, so that I can have an income. And yes, and so that was
Your husband sounds
established.
like a your husband sounds like a professional. What kind of work does he do? Is he a professional or is he a taxi
Yes,
driver?
so he's, I
Laser?
guess you can, he can be in the category of like water engineer, I guess, within that category. So like working for the water company and making sure the systems and pumping and the water levels and the,
Okay. The reason I bring it up is because some people I've seen dialogue where they don't meet some women sisters from the U.S. outside of Ghana. They sometimes complain they don't meet men of their caliber, in terms
oh,
of a professional person and that sort of thing. So true to you are we can all bear witness to your experience that you have met a professional brother that can also make a contribution to your well-being and your sustainability, right?
yes. And that was part of the decision making. If he didn't have a job, I wouldn't be here. I want to be honest. I told him that too. Like, if there's no, because we both need to have something. Both of us need to benefit, like from it. That's was just my mindset with things. So he helped me to like really like make sure I had the things in place. And he's been so supportive. Like, I love my husband. He's very supportive. He has my back and I have his back. And so I don't teach English to African nationals in West Africa. I do offer like volunteer online courses where people can join, and these courses are for TEFL trainees to get practice with. Um, so I just want to be clear with that, because there are plenty of schools within Accra, that are teaching the francophones and different things like that. And just to be quite transparent, is not worth it for me money wise, because I'll make more money online. And so I teach, online based out of here, but most of them are internationals from either Asian countries or like Eastern European, Germany, Poland, or like Turkey, places like this, and training people who are in Ghana. So either Ghanaians or other foreigners who want to learn English, learn how to teach English online. So training them and certifying them, or those who also want to go abroad with their certificate, supporting them
Okay.
in that way.
Well, that is, so let me back up a little bit. You were saying that uh, let me ask about the teaching and the experience. So you don't teach English to Ghanaians specifically, like let's say the way you were describing in Vietnam, you were in Vietnam
Mhm.
teaching in the classroom. You don't teach like that in Ghana. Is that correct?
No, that is correct.
And I think you said monetarily it's not worth it. Is that right?
That is correct. Just to be quite transparent. And so when I do, so as I was saying, I have, there's free English classes that anyone can join, right? And so I just found, I'm just going to be very real with you. And I don't like a headache. I like Hakuna Matata. I'm not trying to have my BP go up and stuff. I've just had African nationals who lowball me disrespectfully. You'll pay a white man, a European, in Accra his asking rate, but you see me, sister, so you want to pay me $3? No, I'm going to go to the Chinese. I'll train you how to teach English and how to make money online, but I will not like. I can't do that. If you would like to have a low free English class on the designated day, you may join. But I'm just not in a place where I have like the patience. I feel like to be disrespected in earnings and wages, right? When there are people So English is one of the official languages of Ghana, first of all. So, most Ghanaians will have some form of English. So Ghanaians who want to study English usually want to do exam prep. TOEFL, IELTS, TOEIC. These exams, they pay money to do. And they're going to pay a hefty price to take these exams. And the prep work in these exams, for these exams, it's a lot of prep work for the teacher. And so to compensate someone,
can I come in for a second? I want to explain, or maybe have you explain TOEIC and TESOL. So, I'm not the TESOL, but the exams and the purpose of those
yes.
exams. I think because
So
those
TOEIC,
exams are for
TOEIC, IELTS, IELTS, TOEFL, TOEFL. These are English exams that prove your English proficiency if you want to go to university in an English-speaking country, or if you want to immigrate to an English-speaking country. Ghanaians must have this, even though English is an official language. So most Ghanaians most Ghanaians who approach us are trying to prepare for that. And because I'm just gonna, from my so far, what I have experienced is many of them don't want to pay even just a reasonable price that we ask for. They try to lowball, but a European and a Accra can go and offer a class and they would pay that price. And so for me, it feels very disrespected. And so I tend to stay away, from the exam prep. Sometimes there are people who are willing to pay the costs in a respectful way. And for those students, you're welcome. I have a coach who specializes in that, and I assign them to that coach. Pay her what she is worth.
what the as you're talking about the compensation, right? And it's different for different parts of the world. And in typical, I think, fashion in Ghana, we often have to barter. This is a bartering system that we are most accustomed to. And when you enter into some of these negotiations, if you will, it can sometimes feel disrespectful, I'm sure, even if it isn't. But yeah. So dealing with some of the international teaching that is in the Far East or in different parts of the world, China, Japan, South Korea, some of these other areas of the world, there are opportunities to teach. The reason I even ask you to bring up the different types of tests is to show that there are so many different opportunities where still people around the world are still trying to get to the United States. They are still trying to come to the United States for university. So there are so many people around the world that are looking for English tutors, English, training to prepare for these type of exams. So there's a plethora of opportunity. And as a remote worker or a freelance worker, you could set your own price. And a lot of these, if you don't know it or not, in China, they have a lot of money for that. In my experience as a teacher, many of the companies that these South Koreans or Japanese or Chinese, their company pays for their lessons, and if you could go into a little bit about the type of conversations you have or the type of lessons you have with some of your students, can you speak to some of the experiences that you've had with your students from the young learners to the adult learners? And is this something that, let me give it a little bit more specific, is this something that you think an average person, native English speaking person can do? And what are the qualifications to become a teacher of English as a foreign language? Can you go into that a little bit?
Yeah, so the qualifications to become a TEFL teacher include having at least a B2 level of English, I would say at least, and having a TEFL certificate. Most companies that say you would want to work for require you to have at least 120 hours or more for your TEFL certificate, right? And so classes can range from teaching very young learners, 3-year-olds to 5-year-olds, or young learners 5 to 12, or teens 13 to 17, and then adults 18, and up. And classes usually for the very young learners and young learners are foundational, like English classes. You're teaching the alphabet, you're teaching phonics, you're teaching short sight words for them, you're teaching basic grammar, where they can introduce their names. My name is, I am, um, up to business English courses where professionals want to learn English specifically for their industry. Maybe a nurse, wants to move to the United States, and so she needs to practice with nursing and medical terminology, right?
That's correct. Yeah, that's correct. Just to tag on, speaking from my own experience,
Can you
excuse
hear
me.
me?
Yes, I can continue. Yeah, I can hear you. I was
The
tagging in on.
connection is.
I was tagging in on some of my own experience.
I'm not sure
Sometimes
if
I
you're
work with.
still there.
I can still hear you.
Um,
I can hear you very well.
but there is a student base for every type of teacher, whether you feel comfortable with only doing conversational English.
It seems we have a little choppy connection, but it'll be fine. Yeah, some of my own experience as a teacher, teaching some of the students in Asia. Many are professionals. I would say marketing managers, country managers, and people of different economic backgrounds. So some of the conversations and things like that, you'd be surprised. Let's say I was pleasantly surprised at some of the conversations that I've had with some of the students that I have, and they come in and and it's just an interesting conversation for the most part. And we meet, the different there are several different platforms that you can work from or work as a freelance uh, teacher. Um, I'm one of Verdel's students or graduates. I'm an alumni of Emerging English Coaching, and I completed in 2023. And I started my teaching journey, uh, teaching English as a foreign language through Verdel's assistance, or after I graduated with 180-hour um, TEFL certification. That enabled me with my bachelor's degree and being a native English speaker, that positioned me to uh, go in for different type of positions, different type of jobs. And that's where I began and got my opportunity. Um, in terms of my past and in my history, I taught as a substitute teacher when I was in university back in Virginia, and I got my first opportunity teaching in classrooms like that. And when I came to Ghana, I also established a computer training school, once upon a time called Atimboko Media Center, where I managed the school and also taught uh, basic computer training skills to non-native English speakers in Ghana here. And I got an opportunity to learn how to slow my cadence down and how to talk to people and also listen to people who are non-native English speakers. Sorry, Verdel. Uh, the internet broke up, but what I was explaining, or I was tagging on about your experience, and I was sharing some of my own personal experience about dealing with some of the professionals, not just the young learners, but also country managers, you know, different levels of people from the economic stratosphere in the Asian world that take advantage of learning English. Some have lived in the United States. Some are planning to travel. Some are learning, want to improve on their English. So it's not something that, initially, Verdel, initially, when I was, nervous about teaching,
I remember.
online and those things, and I didn't, you just don't know what to expect. And after one or two lessons, you begin to say, oh man, this is just a conversation, and I'm just, and you begin to learn how to tailor somebody's English to where to achieve the goals that they want. And I learned a lot of that, all of that from going through your course. And I'm glad I have an opportunity, the platform here to share with others about your journey and the opportunity you are offering in Ghana. As a repatriate who was an entrepreneur myself, the economy in Ghana has faced some challenges over the past since COVID. And, I've had to reshape some of the things that I'm doing. And I was blessed to have you come into my life and, create an opportunity for sustainable repatriation, right? So, many of us move to Ghana, especially young people like I once was when I came in my 30s. You come without an income and you don't really know how you're going to uh, sustain yourself in Ghana. You may like living here and like, going to nice places and, as you said, luxury living, but how is that going to be sustainable? And, unless you can earn dollars or other currencies, you can find yourself having to go home earlier than you want to. So maybe you could talk about the type of income you can generate for yourself
Yes.
teaching
And so
English as a foreign.
with online English teaching, there is so much potential depending on your background, your student base, and depending on your consistency. If you're not a consistent person, if you're the type of person where maybe you're not timely, you don't show up for things, you forget things, it's going to be hard for you to get students who can trust you and who will want to book with you, right? Let alone who want to pay the price that you may be asking for, right? But if you are teachable, coachable, flexible, you have potential to make 3,000 US dollars per month online as a native English speaker teacher, right? Or more, depending on how much time you put into it, the platform or platforms you use. Depending on that, you can make 3,000 a month or more online. For non-native English speakers, on average, just being quite for the non-native. So if you're a Ghanaian, you're like, I want to do this TEFL course thing online. You have the potential, depending on your background. If you have a university degree with your TEFL, you have the potential to earn at least 1,500 to 2,000 or more online. Okay, so it will be dependent on your qualifications for that. And
Right?
making 2,000 US dollars, 3,000 US dollars, when I moved here, I had one platform that paid me very, very well, very, very well. And I was working three others. And then I was also starting EEC. I was making some good money. I was making some good money, and I struggled with the internet, right? And I lost a lot of money because of that, but I was able to restore some of that, restore at least a couple thousand of what I had lost. And
Good.
I'm still just through teaching only, I'm still working to get to that point, right? So, and this is because of my background. I have a master's degree. I've been a teacher trainer. So making 5,000 a month is something that, because of the background, that okay, you should be able to do this. A person even with a college degree in a university, in a TEFL, you can get 3,000. You can make 3,000 a month. And with EEC, part of the coaching experience, so you have the coursework and then you have coaching. Something that I feel has been important as we've like made changes to our program is showing you like how to apply to the different platforms, mock interviewing, practicing with like how to, I guess, like find your niche as a teacher so that you can know what student base you should target, and also teaching you strategy. One company may not pay you $2,000 a month. You may need 3 companies to reach 2,000 or 3,000. You know, and the strategy of how to manage your time between the different time zones. Strategies of what type of school usually pays more versus what pays medium. And like deciding on this school maybe pay you $40 or $30 an hour, but they give you like 10 hours a week, right? And another school pays you half that price, but you can do an unlimited amount. You need to use strategy to be able to capitalize off of both of those systems in schools to make your desired amount. But it is possible. And so through the coaching, something that has been newly implemented with our new set of students is that part is included, the strategy of finding jobs, the strategy of how to manage your schedule and your timing. And not everyone is so organized and can manage the different time zones, but you will make money if you get the hang of how to manipulate and manage through the time zones, and you're going to be okay. When the city is drowning and going down low and you getting paid in dollars, you know, you'll be able to cash in and then invest in your resources here, like generator, backup internet, you know, different things to help support your business as you begin to make money so that you can continue, because the internet is how you keep your money going. So no matter what, you need to always have internet. Whatever you got to do to get that internet, make sure you get it so that your money can continue to flow.
You know, you make some excellent points, great points all across the board. You know, one, as a repatriation consultant, I even had a sister yesterday ask me what advice I would give to her or them, you know. And often people, you know, people don't have very good expectations, not expectations. They don't have realistic expectations of moving their lives to God. So, you know, I without going deep into it, you know, how much money do you think you need to live, you know, daily? How much do you think you need to earn? So if you, just give it an example. So if you can save $50 a day, let's give it an example. You say, oh man, do you spend $50 a day in Ghana?
If you're living in Accra, you never live outside the US, and you have a certain palate, no, you're gonna need more than that. Like if you have like certain, because some people they're eating, their money gets chopped with food, goes very quickly, right? But if you're eating locally, if your accommodation is already sorted out, and especially because costs are going up with food stuff and everything, I would say that I would bring it up to $75 to $100 a day is what I would say within Accra. And these parts where we live, $50 to $75 a day, maybe. I'm still not there yet. I still have Western ways, but I'm being redeemed. But it's slowly. And so, and I have to check myself because it's not sustainable to live like a tourist, because you need to have money. If you get sick, you need to have money for the hospital. If you like all these different things. And so as you begin to make adjustments to the culture around you, that budget, I think, will change. But for like one person, if your accommodation is already sorted and you have, let's say, your lights and your water for the month and your internet for 30 days, then maybe you can do $50 to $75 a day. Maybe. If you don't have a car and you take Ubers, that's gonna be gone fast if you don't want to take a trotro. Because it goes fast. $50 is 700 cities. Yeah, and that's not enough. Like for me, I need to be making or having like my goal. I don't want to share numbers because I'm
Okay,
but
without
my
going too deep into it.
my
Mm,
daily goal is maybe twice or three times that amount of like what I try to make per day. And this is through the different like sources of teaching English and the different ways that I offer English. That is my goal. But I think it is reasonable if you're just starting off, if you're like freshly qualified, you want to give this a try, like $50 a day is great. Then push yourself to do 100. Then push yourself to do 125, push yourself to do 150. And this doesn't have to be through one platform. It can be through two platforms or three platforms. One platform can pay you $15 an hour, one can pay you 25, one can pay you 8, and work your way through until you can get that designated amount per day that you want to make and have money coming in. If you got paid $400 from one company, $1,500 from another month, $800 a month, all those different things start to add up, and they'll pay you at maybe different times at the same time, but it's a practical approach instead of expecting maybe just from one source. Not everyone is fortunate enough to have an income only from one platform. And so set that like
but
realistic,
yeah, I mean, I wanted to segue as we are winding down a little bit. I wanted to ask you, how can individuals who are considering a move to Ghana or pursuing a TEFL certification best prepare themselves for the transitions and challenges they face? And also, how to get in contact with you directly. So if they want to sign up, let me just say you can also sign up through Real Repatriation Consultations. You do a consultancy with me, and I offer a $50 discount on your on the school itself. So you can either go through me or go directly through Verdel. But Verdel, please, can you go in and elaborate how somebody can get in touch with you if they're considering following your footsteps? What are the best ways to do that?
Yeah, so I would say I offer a free consultation for 30 minutes. You can visit our website, emergingenglishcoaching.com, to sign up for a free consult. Um, and we discuss what exactly your goals are as far as like how much you like to make, how much you think you need to make. And I also assess if you would be suitable for the program. Not everyone is suitable for this program or this course. And if you may not be suitable yet. So you could prepare yourself to be able to meet the qualifications that we have, which can also be found on our website, in order to participate in our certification program. I would say for those who may currently have a TEFL, before you come to Ghana, figure out what internet source you're going to use. Broadband is usually better. And so make sure the area you're going to be living in, broadband is able to be there. Where I live, broadband is not here yet for MTN or Vodafone. So I use a TurboNet thing, and I use my cell phone as a hotspot, as a backup when I have problems. And then, I have another backup in case those things don't work out as well. So securing your internet source will be one way to prepare yourself, and also secure a teaching gig. Secure one before you reach here so that you won't be under so much pressure to like try to quickly find one, while you're here. So if you're still in the States, prepare yourself by securing the internet, research what internet is available. And if you have your place already, buy that internet to get it installed so that it can be ready for you already. Find your platform or your school that you want to be working with. Find them. And and our business email is admin@emergingenglishcoaching.com. emergingenglishcoaching.com. Yeah, so find that before you reach here. Have a consultation with me before you reach here. I offer TEFL coaching. So maybe you're certified, but you don't know anything. You got one of those free certifications. Maybe that's you. You could do TEFL coaching where it's not certification, but it's like a tutor. So you're like, Verdel, how do I teach grammar? I don't understand this. Then I will teach you how to teach it. And so I would be your tutor in teaching you how. And that's an hourly rate that's offered. Depending on what the content is, it starts at low as $15 an hour, depending on the content that you need help teaching or help with doing. Right. So I would definitely
All right.
suggest that.
Finally, what message or advice would you like to share with our audience, especially those who are seeking inspiration to embark on their own journeys of personal and professional growth that may like to follow your journey?
I will say recognize who you are and what you have to offer. Be very honest on your self-assessment. And don't compare yourself to other people. Don't be in other people's lane. Find your lane and focus and run in that. Each of us have our own like strength and superpower, and you just have to find the correct terrain. Find that thing, that business, that thing. Maybe you're looking for a specialty and with your teaching, find that thing and cling to it, and you're going to be okay with it. You're going to do well with it. You're going to be able to sustain yourself with it, right? So is what I would say. Find your lane, assess what your strengths are, and like use that and grow more in those strengths. And don't look so much to the left or to the right. Look, glance for some inspiration, but really hone into improving what you're already good at, because that's going to help you, especially if you're moving here, that's going to help you figure out what you can do to sustain yourself. Yes.
All right. Well, again, thank you for joining us here on our channel, our Real Repatriation Consultation channel, Born Again African channel, where we
Thank you for
try to
having
give
me.
you most welcome, and where we try to give people inspiration and information in an edutainment type of way, so that we can, give people and show people a roadmap on how, if they want to follow and step out of the virtual box that we all grew up with, and the journey of coming to Ghana, repatriating to Ghana. Many of us, our journeys are not well documented. But let me say that there is a something called the legacy cloth. Let me show you a little bit of it. This is the legacy cloth here, and I'm also wearing some of the legacy cloth where we have collected the names of many of the diasporans that have come back through the door of no return, and we want to document our story and our journeys of settling and reacclimating ourselves and back into the fabric of Africa, and also be a part of playing an active role in the reemergence of Black excellence in Africa. So we are also here letting everybody know. And we also came to play a role in providing avenues for jobs, or even just setting an example with our lives, and also intermarrying, which is, I think, at the highest level of repatriation, which is the love, which is the highest vibration. And then when we all can come together with those things, we have a very bright future ahead of ourselves. So if you're interested in getting some of this beautiful cloth, you can contact me as well through our channels on Facebook, on Instagram, as well as YouTube. And Verdel, let me give you an opportunity to mention all the contacts, all the platforms that you are on, and that people can also get in touch with you and follow up with you. Can you share your information?
Yes. So emergingenglishcoaching.com is our website. And then you can also find us on Facebook, Emerging English Coaching, as well as Instagram at Emerging English Coaching. You will find us. If you still are having a hard time, go to Google, put in EEC Ghana or Emerging English Coaching Ghana, and you'll see us come up as well. So you can reach us through those ways, and also through Real Repatriation Consulting.
That's right. All right. Well, thank you very much again for coming and sharing your experience. I look forward to seeing you in the future and also remaining. I'm still a student. I'm a perpetual student because I always feel like I need to improve myself. And I'm trying to get to this goal of $3,000 a month living in Ghana. That sounds like a life changing event. You could earn that kind of money living in Ghana. You'll be living in the upper echelon in Africa. So
Depending on your
this is
debts and your bills, you will be.
That's right. That's right. This is about sustainable repatriation. And let me tell you right now, if you're spending uh, 700 CDs a day, you need to reevaluate what
This
you're,
is
how you're living and where you're living, your accommodation as well as your transport and what your diet is. When we
yeah.
move here, we not only want to bring our American palate with us, but we also have to go through a healing process. And a lot of that has to do with our diet, as we're
Yes.
going through. We're not going too deep into, but I also went through some transitions. When I moved to Ghana, I was 350 pounds. And, I slowly but surely uh, adjusted my diet to the Ghanaian diet. And, I'm not skinny today, but I'm definitely more healthier than I was when I initially came in. So these are part of the becoming a real repatriate, and that is the acclimation and marriage into the cultures. Taking the best of both worlds, I would say. All right, Verdel. Then greet your husband David for me, and I look forward to seeing you in the future. Have a nice evening.
Thank you. You too.
Bye bye. And thank you to all my guests for joining us today. I'm going to share the video of Verdell one last time and look forward to hearing from you and look forward to our next program.